Ever wondered what your digital shadow really looks like? Well, today, we're cracking open the modern detective's toolbox. We're going to break down 3 incredibly powerful and totally free OSINT tools that can piece together an entire online life from publicly available data. This is going to be fascinating, so do me a favor and hit that subscribe button and let's dive right in.
Seriously, just think about it for a second. That username you've used since you were a kid, the one for your gaming accounts, your forums, maybe even a part of your email. It feels anonymous, right? Pretty harmless? Well, as you're about to see, that one single username can be the thread that unravels your entire digital life.
And the technique for pulling on that thread is called OSINT, which stands for Open Source Intelligence. Now, the most important word here is open. This isn't about some shady back alley hacking. This is all about data that's already out there in the public. You know, as the CIA puts it, information does not have to be secret to be valuable. It's all about knowing how to connect the dots that are hiding in plain sight.
So now that we have an idea of what OSINT is, let's talk about who's actually using it. You might be really surprised by just how critical this skill has become in so many different professional fields.
Yeah, it's not just for spies and private eyes. We're talking about cybersecurity pros using it to map out potential threats, fraud managers who need to verify a customer's identity, and even HR departments doing deep dives on potential candidates. OSINT has become a fundamental skill for pretty much anyone who needs to make sense of our digital world.
Okay, time to open up the toolkit. Our first tool is, well, it's perfectly named for the job of tracking down digital footprints all across the internet. Meet Sherlock.
And that analogy is spot on, because Sherlock has one job, and one job only, to hunt. See, we're creatures of habit, right? We often reuse the same username on tons of different sites. That old gaming tag DragonSlayer92 might seem silly now, but if you've used it anywhere else, Sherlock is built to find that connection with terrifying efficiency.
And the process couldn't be simpler. You give it one username, just one, and it blasts out a search across nearly 400 different websites and platforms. We're talking everything from huge social networks to really obscure forums, and then it reports back with every single match it finds.
And don't let that simplicity fool you, because its real-world applications are incredibly serious. We're talking about law enforcement using it in cases involving ISAC, that's Internet Crimes Against Children, plus things like harassment, fraud, and even missing persons cases. Just by taking a single username from a tip, an investigator can instantly start to map out a person's entire online presence.
So Sherlock tells us where someone might be online, but to figure out who they are, we're going to need our second tool. Let's take a look at Maigret.
Exactly. If Sherlock just finds the trail, Maigret is the one that starts building the actual case file. It goes way beyond just finding a matching profile. It actually digs into those profiles to start pulling out personal details.
So Maigret automatically goes through account pages to pull out things like full names, locations, even profile pictures. But here's its real superpower. It can do a recursive search. That means it finds links to other accounts on a profile, and then it automatically starts searching for those, mapping out a whole web of a person's online identities. This is exactly how investigators build context. They can uncover alternate identities, they can map out relationships between different people, and see how entire groups are connected online. It turns a simple username into a rich, detailed profile of a person.
All right, for our third and final tool, we're going to zoom out. We've been looking at individuals, right? But now we're going to investigate entire organizations by focusing on their digital infrastructure. And this is where the harvester comes in.
This is a classic reconnaissance tool. It's all about gathering critical intelligence on a target organization by scraping information that's already public. And it does all this without sending a single piece of data directly to the target system, which means it minimizes the risk of being detected. It's stealthy.
All you do is feed it a domain, like, say, example.com, and it goes out and scours public sources like search engines and security logs to find all sorts of juicy info. We're talking employee emails, subdomains, IP addresses, you name it. For a cybersecurity professional, this stuff is an absolute gold mine for understanding a company's potential weak spots.
So we've got these 3 really powerful tools. But, you know, just having a hammer doesn't make you a carpenter. To really use them effectively, you have to learn to think like an investigator. You see, a real investigation isn't just random Googling. It follows a very structured process, and that process is known as the OSINT intelligence cycle. This framework is what helps turn the chaotic noise of the internet into clear, actionable intelligence.
It all kicks off with planning. What question are you actually trying to answer? Then comes collection, which is where you use tools like the ones we just talked about. Next is processing, where you have to organize that mountain of data. The real detective work happens in analysis. That's connecting the dots. And finally, you disseminate your findings. Following this cycle is what keeps you from just getting lost down a rabbit hole.
But the real magic, the technique that actually breaks cases wide open, is something called pivoting. This is the core skill of any good investigator. It's the art of taking one tiny piece of data and using it as a key to unlock the next piece, and then the next, and the next.
And it's amazing how it works. Look at this. You can start with just one little thing, like an email address. From that one address, an investigator can pull out the username part and run that through Sherlock. Or they can check the whole email against data breach databases. Each discovery opens up a new path. And the same logic works if you start with just a username. That one piece of data can help you guess potential email addresses, or it could lead you straight to their social media profiles. And on those profiles, you find a new piece of info, and you pivot again. It's a constant chain reaction of discovery.
So the crucial point here is that every little bit of information is a potential key. A real name, an email, a username, they're all just starting points on a map. The whole goal of pivoting is to follow those connections until you reveal the full picture.
Of course, all of this power comes with a major dilemma. On the one hand, these tools are accessible, they're cheap, they're amazing, but on the other hand, the sheer amount of data can be totally overwhelming, and not all of it is accurate. The biggest risk, though, is the ethical one. An investigator has a huge responsibility to use this information legally and responsibly. And all of this brings us to one last, really crucial question. In a world where so much of our data is just out there for the taking, what does privacy even mean anymore? I would love to know what you think in the comments below. Thanks for watching.